Today we will be ranking the Stormlight Archive characters, and we're going to do it a little differently. P.S. There will be spoilers, so if you haven't read all 4 books, I suggest not watching them. This is not a normal tier list. No, no, no. This is if I met these characters in real life, I was going to be their friend or not their friend. So our categories are as follows: best friends, hang out all the time with, or try to hang out all the time with. Friends, people I know, obviously, you guys have friends. I hope people I want to be friends with, but they don't want to be friends with me. I'm sure some of us can understand, and if you can't, well then you are the person that people want to be friends with, and you don't want to be friends with them. So, but that's okay. We got the next category. Hey, I know you. That's the people that essentially are acquaintances. You wave at them, they wave back at you. That kind of thing. I don't like you. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And enemies, also very explanatory. Now, a lot of these characters I do know. There's a couple in here that the wording is very, very small that I do not recognize, and so I'm probably going to have to leave them out. But we can put them in the hey, I know you section, I guess. But for now, we're going to go with what we know. We're going to start where we can, and right off the bat, I don't know the first character. We're gonna move them out of the way. And we're not going to start with this guy either, because we're going to leave him for later. TN, Kaladin's young brother that ended up dying. He would be kind of in the hey, I know you section, just because I don't think he ever got old enough for us to actually be friends at this point, but that's okay. The next character we have here is Eshonai, which I don't feel like we get too much of her personality throughout the book, so I think it's really hard to say where she would end up. Honestly, I think we would end up being friends. I think is where we'd end up. I think we'd be friends. Not great friends by any means, but I think we'd be friends. Shallan would be probably somebody I want to be friends with, but they don't want to be friends with me, in all honesty. She's a really cool character, lots of talent, lots of skills. She'd be too busy to really end up being friends with me, and I'd be probably distracted with my own things too. So we'll put her in the I want to be your friend, but you don't want to be my friend. Same with Xyle. Xyle would also be in the, well, you know what, actually, Xyle would probably be an I don't like. And it's probably because I would try to become one of his apprentices, and he would shut me down immediately because I have some of the darkest eyes probably in this entire world, since people bred for lighter eyes, and so I've got dark eyes. I wouldn't work out with this guy. I don't recognize the next character either, so we're going to move them away. Amaram would probably be an I don't like you. He's pretty haughty if you look at it. He thinks he's definitely above everybody, and that's it. So we're going to put him in the I don't like you section. Lopen would be a friends. We'd be friends with Lopen. Lopen's friends with everybody. Kaladin would also be in the I want to be your friend, but you don't want to be mine. Again, I think these people are just too busy for the likes of me, and I'm definitely a introvert, and it would be hard for me to become friends with these people. But you know what? Each their own. Rock is the next character, and Rock is best friends with everybody. No doubt about it. He practically loves everybody. Not everybody, but easy to get along with. So long as you're a nice person, he is your best friend, and that's why he would be one of my best friends. Elokar would probably be an enemy, in all honesty. He would get on my nerves. I wouldn't like him. It'd be hard for me to want to be friends with him. Bridge 4, they take everybody in. They're everyone's best friend. Regardless, Gavilar would probably be an I don't like you. He would probably come off as trying too hard. That just is off-putting in my mind. Odium would probably be a hey, I know you. In all honesty, Odium would not exactly be a I don't like you. It would probably be just I would never interact with him, so I wouldn't actually know this guy entirely. It'd be more of, hey, I've heard of you. Hasina, Kaladin's mother, would probably be a friend, in all honesty. She is a sweetheart and likes to take care of people. So she's looking out for people, so it's really easy. I don't recognize that character. Syl, she would be friends. I would try to be her friend. So she, where would Syl end up? Because I'd want to be her friend. But is she nice enough to want to be my friend as well? That's the tricky part here. think we're gonna have to put her in friends because she ends up being friendlier than Kaladin. I think it's just trying to get on his nerves, which is fine with me. I will be her friend. Lift probably wouldn't like me, and I probably wouldn't like her either, especially if she's going after my food. That would drive me insane. Now we're getting into some of the other characters here. Mraize would probably be a hey, I know you kind of thing, heard of him. Now Nightblood and I think we would be best friends. I would be all for destroying some evil guy. I would hoard as much Stormlight as I possibly could, gather it all up so that I wouldn't die, and swing him around. It would be hard not to draw this guy. Just because I love the black smoke that he spews out. I'm not entirely interested in keeping him like wealth, but we'd be good friends. The next one I think is Navani. I don't see a name. That's who we're going to assume. I think it would be an I don't like you because I think my personal attitude get on her mind. She comes across as like a teacher, and most of my teachers throughout my life didn't like me. So that's probably we're going to end up being an I don't like you. If not a probably enemies, in fact. Most of my teachers were enemies to me. I think Pattern would end up liking me some, but I think it would be more of I want to be his friend and he doesn't want to be mine. I think is where that would land. Probably not interesting enough for this guy, so he's probably going to be there. I think we could safely put Renarin in the hey, I know you. I'm not outgoing enough, and he's not outgoing enough for this friendship to ever take place, so it would be more of a hi in passing kind of thing. So that's probably where Renarin would end up. Relaine and I would be friends. We would be friends. I think he'd be friend back with me. I would want to be his friends, and I think he would be a friend back to me. Don't think he would try to avoid me, assuming. Sadius, we would be enemies. He would get on my nerves so quickly, especially if I heard anything about him. We would be mortal enemies, and I think that's just kind of where it would end up. Now, the Stormfather, don't think he'd put enough thought into me as a human being to want to be my friend. So he's going to end up in the I want to be his friend, but he doesn't want to be my friend. Honestly, I just don't think he'd pay enough attention to me. The Pursuer would probably end up in a hey, I know you, kind of a neutral, I don't really have any opinion about you kind of thing, and I bet he'd have no opinion. Adolin and I would be best friends. He gets along with pretty much anyone except for Sadius, and I think we'd get along just great. I don't think I have a sense of fashion, but I think I could joke around with him enough to where it wouldn't matter. Death would probably end up in I want to be his friend and he doesn't want to be mine. He's kind of off-putting, yet he's bound to his own kind of code. It'd be hard to get along with him, but I want to be his friend because he is so cool. But something tells me I would provide nothing in the relationship and he would care nothing about me and not want to be my friend. So that's where he's going to end up. Taravangian would probably be in a hey, I know you. Not necessarily I don't like you. I think if I truly met him, talked to him for a long time, he'd end up in the I don't like you. But I don't think he would have any time for me. I'm not a big enough pawn in his games. I just wouldn't get the time of day, honestly. So Taravangian is going to end up in the hey, I know you. Yasna would probably not like me. And I think that would be enough for me to not like her. I think Yasna and I would also be enemies, just like her mother. I think that's just the way it is. I just don't think they'd like me. Teft, I also don't think would like me, which means I don't think I would like him back. So I think Teft would end up in the I don't like you section. And I think we just hang out and avoid each other when other people are hanging out. I think that's just kind of how it would go. Nail would probably end up in a hey, I know you. Don't have too much of an opinion on the guy. Liren would probably end up in the I don't like you. Got the strong personality and likes pushing people in specific directions. That rubs backwards on me. Despite him probably being right about me, I would probably not want him to tell me what to do. Bentley and I would not be friends. We would be enemies. Straight up. It just wouldn't work. We wouldn't be friends. She would be my enemy, and I hers. It would be mutual enemies. Hoyd, I would want to be his friend, but he would not want to be mine. I would try to track this guy down and try to lock him up / hold on to him so he takes me everywhere with him. But I just have a feeling that he would do everything he can to get away from me. So that's where he's going to end up. I want to be his friend, but he doesn't want to be mine. And that's probably where we're going to put Wendell as well. I seriously doubt that he would want to be my friend, but he's a really interesting character, and I would really like to get to know him. Dalinar and I think we'd be friends. I don't think we'd be best friends because he's too formal, and I don't think I know him well enough to get close to him, but I feel like a friendship would be connected between Adolin and I, and then his father subsequently. I think it would work out. I think we'd be friends. Not great friends, but friends. Friends for sure. And lastly, because I don't know the rest of the characters, is Moash. I think he'd be my enemy. He's got to be the enemy, right? I mean, that's where he's got to end up. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone else's mind that this is where he would end up for pretty much everyone on the list. Obviously, I think he'd move around based on the books. Read them, which I hope you have if you're watching this video, but too late at this point anyway. So my point is, I think he'd be anyone's enemy. I think he's kind of enemies with the people he's friends with. I think he's just an enemy kind of guy. He's got similar creep, bad guy vibes. Amaram, Sadius, Moash. They all kind of fall in the same camp, in all honesty. Kind of Gavilar down there, too, in all honesty. He just a bad gang. Be quite the gang. Be a good biker gang, though. So, there you have it. That is my Stormlight Archive characters tier list of who I'd end up being friends with if we met in real life. I think my best friend tier group is rocking it. Rock, Bridge 4, Nightblood, and Adolin, and I got a great friend list to follow it up with Eshonai, Lopin, Cena, Syl, Relaine, and Dalinar. I think it would work out great. I think it'd be fun. I'd have plenty of friends, or at least I'd hang out with them occasionally. It would work out. I'd have friends. I don't think I'd be a Radiant by any means, but I'd have friends. There you go. Who would be your best friend if you met all these characters? Or in any of Brandon Sanderson's books, who would you want to be friends with, at least? Who do you think would not be your friend? Let me know in the comments, and go ahead, put the screen down and pick up a book.